You're here because you've got a storage problem. In your memory, specifically. Professors are always trying to cram more information into our heads, and it is tough. It's tough to remember all of those things, and that's why, in most cases, for learning, it's better to understand a concept and all of the underlying factors than it is to memorize it. But sometimes memorization is just completely unavoidable. Sometimes you have to memorize things like bones or muscles and joints or even locations. And for that, we have some tricks. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about acronyms and mnemonics. These are tricks to help you to learn lists or other things, and they are really useful, especially for some classes in university where you just need to memorize a whole list of things. But first, I'm Terrell, and this is Absolutely Studying. I bootstrapped my way through university while juggling a full-time job and a family. It was tough, but now I want to pay it forward. I want to supply you with all of the resources and support you need to flourish in your academic career. Today, like I said, we are talking about acronyms and mnemonics. And if you have any memory tricks that work for you, leave them down below in the comments and share them with the others, because sharing is caring. So let's start out with acronyms. Acronyms is basically using the first letter of each word you need to remember in a list or a process and turning that into a word. So let me show you an example. An example of a common one, if you were in North America, is homes. That is the Great Lakes. So you have H-O-M-E-S. Homes for Lake Huron, O for Lake Ontario, M for Lake Michigan, E is for Erie, and S is for Superior. Homes. Now, because you don't have to remember these in a specific order, you can just rearrange the individual letters to spell out a word, which is how you get homes. So anytime you want to remember the name of all of the Great Lakes, you just have to think about homes. Now, at this point, you can add other kind of mental associations and memory tricks like imagining a house out in the middle of the lake or anything like that to help you really cement that. That's a beginner level acronym. Then we have the acronyms that we have to remember by brute memorization alone because they're not real words. And those usually are for processes that have to be remembered in a specific order. Think BEDMAS or PEDMAS. For that, the B or the P is either brackets or parentheses, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, and then subtraction. If you passed 5th grade algebra, you've heard of PEDMAS. So that one is a little bit harder because you have to remember the word in that order. But once you remember it, you will never forget the order of operations. That's what's so helpful about acronyms. You don't necessarily have to remember each of the steps in order. You just have to remember what the word is and what it pertains to. So you're going to remember that PEDMAS is for algebra, and you're going to remember the simplest of the algebraic operations. You're going to remember addition. You're going to remember subtraction. Exponents you might want to forget, but you'll figure it out by process of elimination. So that's why it's so effective and it works. I do have an entire article and another video on acronyms. I'm going to link the video above and the article below if you really want to dive deep into how those work. Now, mnemonics are a little bit different, and mnemonics are a lot more fun. Mnemonics take that same list of things and they put it in a specific order. So this works best if it's something in a specific order, but it doesn't matter if it has to be kept in a specific order. What a mnemonic is it takes the first letter of either the terminology or the step in a process, and it turns it into a word in a sentence. So now, instead of a single word, you have to remember a sentence. And you've already done this. Let me show you. Let's, for example, talk about the cardinal directions: north, south, east, west. When you're learning them back in elementary school, the they're going to teach you a couple of different sentences to help you remember their order. Maybe yours was never eat shredded wheat or never eat soggy wieners. Those are the ones I remember from school, but it tells you the order of the directions too. North, east, south, west. So you always remember north, east, south, and west in that order. Never eat soggy wieners. You can even have a mnemonic for mnemonics. If you need to remember mnemonics and how it is spelled out, you have the example of mnemonics now erase man's oldest nemesis, insufficient cerebral storage. Listen, I love a good dad joke every now and again. The thing with mnemonics is you can make those sentences really silly and you can then help them to remember whatever it is you need to remember. So if you are in anatomy and you have to remember the arm bones, you remember the arm bones are ulna, radius, and humerus, ultra red hair. So or something along that, usually really hard. These are sentences that you can remember and then they will trigger, okay, what is a bone that starts with R and that is probably in the arm? You can start going through process of elimination. It kind of helps you to trigger. You're looking for a bone that starts with R. So it helps you to do that. There are a ton of them for anatomy and physiology and just processes like that in the sciences, because that is where all of that terminology is really heavy. And you have to remember, you cannot pretend to remove a radius from your leg. So you're going to need to know where that is. And staying on top of all of that terminology is really hard. So I hope that helped to clear up what an acronym is versus a mnemonic. I hope that you can make up some silly ones of your own. Actually, you know what? Let's drop them in the comments and leave me some silly mnemonics down in the comments, but keep it clean. There are students here. If you need help with any more memory or study routines, make sure to pick up my study planner. It's free. It's in the description below with more than 20 study activities to help you pound in all of that information that the professor is just dumping on you. Like, let's get it in there, get it in the brain, get it useful, get it used and rolling around, cement it in solid. And while you're down there picking that up and commenting, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every week and they are always about study tips, organizational hacks, and homework help to help you with the study struggle. You can also visit my website. I have tons of free articles and useful resources, www.absolutelystudying.com. I'd love to see you there. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing adventure.